Hello and welcome. This video is going to be a what sold video, and it's going to be everything that sold on my not live platforms from June 8th to June 14th. And we're going to start with Depop. I know, I'm excited. So I made one Depop sale, and I actually didn't make a whole lot of money off of this, but this was an older item. Miss Moxie has decided to join us, and here is her very grumpy looking face. I notice whenever I edit these videos, her face just looks like she wants to murder me for picking her up, but I promise you she's very happy. It's just her face. Her face either looks like she wants to murder you, or it looks like she has absolutely no idea what's going on. There's no in between there. So this is a cast iron trivet that I found, I think at an estate sale, so I paid a couple dollars for this. It sold for my full asking price of $25, and that's free shipping. This went all the way to Alaska, which is why I say I did not make that much money off of this, but I'm glad that it sold because it was an older item, and I'm happy it found a new home. I actually have two Poshmark sales. My Poshmark woke back up in the beginning of June. I'm going to move Miss Moxie over here now. And that was because I actually started to pay attention to it again. This is what sold on Poshmark for me. I sold this pair of Levi Strauss 513s. I do not recommend picking this up. I was just giving it a try, mostly because it was on the mid range for sell-through rate a while ago for Matt's Manifesto, but it's no longer there, so wouldn't recommend picking these up. Sold for $20 on Poshmark, and of course they take a 20% fee, and shipping but the buyer pays. There weren't any discounts on this. This was somebody actually sent me an offer, which was nice. Another item where they sent me an offer is this 1960s little shawl that I picked up at the estate sale that kicked me out. This was absolutely gorgeous, and I'm so glad I saved this from the dumpster that it would have ended up in. It also sold for $20, and of course the buyer had to pay for shipping, so I'm really happy about that. I'm guessing that this sold because it's very Barbie-core, and the movie I think is going to be released either this week or next week. I'm not 100% sure. But now we get to go to eBay, because eBay is my main bay, although it is really nice that I actually had some other platforms to share with you, and you guys got to see lots of Miss Moxie's very confused face as I have positioned her from place to place. First thing I'm going to share with you is Duluth Trading. I've talked about this brand before. I pick it up if I can get it for really cheap, so $4 or less. It's not going to sell for a whole lot. It's a very bread and butter brand, but it does sell very consistently for me. This is a 2XL piece, and it was a camo 3/4 sleeve, and it sold for $10. I believe I paid $4 for this. This is the great sale that I have to share with you, and you can see I actually modeled this item. It fit me, but it was too short. I've talked about multiple times on this channel that I have a 32-inch inseam. I am a tall lady. This actually fit perfectly for my long torso, so I was very sad when I realized that this was also very high watered. I think this had a 26-inch inseam. I'm correct because I can read. Yay! But I modeled it and it sold immediately. Like within 24 hours of me listing this item, with my modeled photos, it sold immediately, and I do think it's because of the fact that I showed how good it can look on the body, because here on the hanger it looks kind of dumpy, but on me it looks great. So it sold for $59.87, and I actually found this at the bins, so I paid roughly $2.50 for this. So I couldn't believe that someone threw it back. It was in a throwback pile from somebody else. So now it is this item, this Free People item, and the Kate Spade dress that are two items that other resellers just decided to throw back at the bins, and I scooped them up and sold them super fast for really good profits. So I will always look out for what other people leave behind at the bins, because it pays off. This I also picked up at the bins, but you guys know that I buy and sell vintage books because I can't bear to see them go in the trash, especially at the bins. I paid 50 cents for this, and it's an E.T. book, and I remember watching a young Drew Barrymore in E.T. when I was a very small child. So I'm really happy that I got to save this from the trash. I didn't make a whole lot of money on it, but it moved on to a new home, and I'm happy about that. This is another piece from that big vintage vinyl haul, which I will link up above, in order to hopefully get more people to watch that video. I don't know why people don't want to watch that video, but I got a lot of really cool records. I am still listening to them and trying to get them all listed. This is a White Lion album from 1987, and it sold on offer for $16.43. I paid $2 for every single one of the albums from that haul, so this was great. This is a vintage piece I got from that huge vintage women's wear buyout. I still have probably 200 pieces to list, but I have made all my money back because I only invested $100 in that buyout. So roughly 25 cents a piece for each piece. So at this point, this one is just pure profit. It sold for $19.90 and the buyer paid for shipping. So the next item is actually something I picked up at Diversity. I paid $1 for this and it sold for my last price of $14.87. I kind of figured it would sell. It is from the 90s and it's very much beach colors. And, you know, it kind of could go with Barbiecore because it looks like, you know, a Ken would wear this. But sold for $14.87, really happy about that. This is a brand that I seem to be the only one that talks about it or buys and sells it. I haven't seen anybody else talk about this brand. It's Elizaveta. It is a Scandinavian brand. And I buy and sell these whenever I find them because they always get left behind at the thrift stores due to the fact that nobody knows this brand. It's a laser cut brand. It's a comfort brand. I think it's from Denmark. But these always sell very quickly for me, and it sold for $25 and the buyer paid for shipping. So I think I paid like $9 for these at a Goodwill. This is something I picked up for Thriftmas. I bought this at a little hole-in-the-wall thrift store in Pocosin. And this sold for $30. I paid $4 for this. This was a, you know, Pussy Willow door pull that you're supposed to put a bell at the bottom. So you're supposed to hang this from a hook over your door. And that way when people like open the door, it rings. At least that's what my understanding is when I looked at it. I actually had to fix this. I don't mind fixing items in order to make sure they sell. I had to re-embroider a small area of the branch. I have embroidery thread from a thrift store find, and so that was an easy fix. And I think from 4 to 30, totally worth the 5 minutes it took me to restitch that. This is a brand that I will definitely be on the lookout going forward. It didn't sell for a whole lot. These sold for $18, but the Bare Bottom brand seems to have an exceptionally high sell-through rate, and these sold very quickly. I paid $4 for these at a thrift store, and they sold very quickly for $18. These shoes I picked up because my partner actually has this exact same pair of shoes that he wears pretty much anytime he has to go into the office. And I saw these and I was like, oh, I know those shoes, and I know how much he paid for them, a lot, because he bought them, I think, from a Men's Warehouse sale or whatever, so he didn't have to pay like the $200 that they cost. But I knew these shoes. The Cole Haan Grand OSs, or Zero Grand, are the only two types of Cole Haans I will pick up consistently, and I paid $9 for these, and they sold for $39.87. So, you know, if you have a partner in your life, paying attention to what brands that they like can sometimes help as well. This is a piece I picked up at Goodwill. I wanted to just try it because I thought it was interesting and it felt really nice. This is a collab between Madras by APC and also Jessica Ogden. If you can find either of those brands by themselves, they can do well. So I figured between the two brands, I couldn't fail here. I think I paid $8 for this dress and it sold for $21.14. And Karen, you know, did a great job modeling it. As I stated in the last What Sold video, whenever I'm going through the men's shorts rack and I see these little nylon belts that are kind of inside of the shorts, I normally double check the brand and pick them up because it's almost always a good outdoor hiking brand. This is REI Co-op. REI is a co-op, but when it says REI Co-op, for some reason it does better. I don't know why. These sold for $17 and I paid $4 for them at a thrift store. Another vintage piece from the giant buyout, so it's pure profit here. Sold for $18.30, and you can see again Karen doing a great job modeling this piece. And I'm really, really happy that I am starting to get some of this stuff listed and starting to get it sold. I still have a full double rack, but you know, tiny progress. Really excited that I have made money off of another Walmart brand. Cherokee is a Walmart brand, and this was a vintage button front dress from the 90s from them. sold for $15, and the buyer paid a flat rate for shipping. I paid very little for this dress. I think I picked it up like at an estate sale or something, so only a couple dollars. This is a top I picked up at the thrift store across the street from my partner's house. I paid $1 for this, and you can see I modeled it. I think I did a really good job here. It looks super cute. It was from the 80s. It had little sailboats on it. It was just very cute. It sold for $12.87 and the buyer paid for shipping. Again, if I think something's cute and I know it's vintage, I will pick it up regardless. Because to me, the brand doesn't matter. If you put enough keywords in it, I've done well selling vintage, even if it is not from a currently modern known brand. Speaking of, here is something that I didn't even bother putting the name of the brand in the title. This is from the 90s. It was a beautiful polka dot halter dress that had like a collar, very rockabilly, and it was a full maxi length dress with the nice button front. Absolutely stunning. I knew that this would sell quickly. I actually went ahead and wanted to try to cross post this, but before I could cross post it, it sold on eBay. It sold so quickly. So it sold for my $30 and the buyer paid a flat rate for shipping, so I'm really happy. Again, if you do the right keywords and do things by style, things will sell in vintage. These Quicksilver amphibian shorts, if I can buy them for really cheap, I will always pick them up because they do sell very consistently for me. They don't sell for a whole lot, but shorts I feel are a really quick and easy listing. Sold for $13.50, and I believe I picked these up at the bins, so, you know, $1. This is a Levi's pair of cargo khaki shorts. I don't know how I picked these up. I probably paid like $4 for them, and they sold for $11.90, and the buyer paid for shipping. So, you know, I more than doubled my money, and I saved something from the landfill. And that is actually the last time I have to share with you today. So thank you guys so very much for watching. A little short sale thing. I will show you guys Miss Moxie again, so that way we can all be happy and enjoy her purring together. But thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow in another video. Until then, bye. Bye.